Welcome to A Friend of Mine, a series of conversations with some incredible and inspiring women in business from regional and rural Australia. I'm Kimberly Finesse, your host and the founder and editor of Oak Magazine, and I cannot wait to introduce you to some amazing female entrepreneurs who will share with you their experience and knowledge of what it takes to start, grow and scale a successful business. So let me introduce you to a friend of mine. After a lifetime of working in corporate, Kerry McCuskey retired to pursue her passion for creating a beautiful blend of tea. Kerry launched her very first business, Tea Associates, in June 2020. Kerry has been obsessed with tea from a young age, so every part of the Tea Associates journey has been carefully considered. The products are lovingly blended in her hometown Bendigo, using her own recipes. The packaging is reusable, refillable and biodegradable. She also invested in branding right from the get-go, engaging a creative agency for her logo and website and a professional photographer. Kerry shares with us her transition from corporate to business owner, why it was so important to launch with a professional-looking brand, ways she is collaborating with local creatives, tips on how to approach potential stockists, and so much more. Meet my friend Kerry from Tea Associates. Hello, Kerry, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm very excited to have you in, and I think I thought we'd just have a little chat beforehand to warm ourselves up, and then half an hour later, and I thought, oh gosh, we need to press record on this before all the good stuff gets spoken. I wanted to ask you a question because you have been working your entire life, you've just told me, ever since you were
16.
16. Mm-hmm. Nearly 12 months ago, you've launched your own business, so gone out as a small business owner. Can you take me back and tell me what would your everyday, normal, typical working week look like?
Very busy. A working week would normally be Monday to Friday. I'd start work around about 8:30, or it might be emails before I'd even leave home. So it could be at 6:30, 7 in the morning, just so I had some headspace to get them done. Would normally work through the day. If I didn't take my lunch, I'd end up skipping lunch. Used to work sort of other side of Bendigo, basically. And and sometimes I'd get a phone call at 6 or 7 at night saying, "Are you coming home for dinner tonight?" So very, very long days, and I was very passionate about my job. I loved what I did, and but it was full on. And I'd also work weekends as well, catching up, doing emails or any reports I had to get done when I wouldn't get time at work. Yeah.
So how did you feel, physically and emotionally then?
Tired. Yeah. I was pretty well. I was pretty well burnt out by the time I decided to retire. And but it was a big decision because I've been working for such a long time that I was quite scared actually of not having my own income. Not that it was going to worry my husband because it was a shared income anyway, but it was me personally that struggled.
Yeah, I could relate to that. It's something about having your own money, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And not that I ever had to ask permission to be able to spend. It was just the independence. I just liked the independence of having my money that I could go and do and buy what I wanted to do without feeling guilty.
Yeah. Now, being a small business owner, and yes, it's probably only been a year, so sort of really stepped into it from corporate into Tea Associates in, say, June 2020. How do you feel now? Have you noticed any change compared to those corporate days?
Yes, I watch the dollars a lot more. That's for sure. I've set myself a bit of a budget as to what I can spend and what I can do. I'm not saying that I'm tight, but yeah, I do watch my figures. That's for sure, and watch what's coming in and out of the bank account. Whereas before, I wouldn't really think twice about going and buying an outfit or going to the theatre or doing something. Yeah.
But do you find that you're filled with more joy or a bigger sense of purpose now that you have your own business compared to, say, what were you working in? Group training, would you say? Or
Yes, apprenticeships and traineeships is what I worked in. Yeah, which was terrific. I mean, that was just that was a love that I have for many, many years. Love working with young people and getting them jobs and the satisfaction. And it came with, with its fair share of stress as well, because sometimes an apprentice or trainee wouldn't work out with that particular organisation, and you're kind of like, good cop, bad cop. You're a counsellor, you're a friend. So it was really, it was very rewarding at the end of the day. But having your own business, I've got to say, I love it. I absolutely love it, and I think I'm probably working harder at this now than what I did in my corporate job, so I'm told anyway. And it's just a satisfaction of having something that you're building up yourself and that you can be proud of.
Yep, definitely. So we are here to speak all things tea associates. So tell me how it started.
Well, I've always loved tea, and I've been sort of dabbling in blends for a few years now. So it was really a bit of a side hustle. It was something that gave me something to do outside of that corporate world. So I wasn't always thinking about what I had to do in terms of my paid job. So I started blending teas and having a bit of fun with it, and I didn't have a name or anything for it, and I had my husband and I tried different blends, and we picked out a few quirky little names like Sassy and Ginger, and then I went away for a weekend with my sisters. I'm a family of 7, eldest of 7, and my 4 sisters. And when family, when you're with them, when you're all together, it becomes we sort of have to take time out because they're all quite entrepreneurial in their own right. So they put me on a deadline for the Melbourne Sustainability Festival. They said, Kez, you've got 6 months to get it ready. I'm going, oh my God, 6 months. And so I didn't have labelling, I didn't have a name, I didn't have anything. And then over that period, that weekend down in Lawn, my younger sister Erin came up with tea associates, and I thought, oh yeah, I like that because it means everything associated with tea. And for me, it was all about taking that time out, and if COVID probably has taught us anything, is that we do need to slow down. So for me, it was really associating the ritual of having tea. So I got the business name and I got fired up and got organised. So, and that's when Tea Associates was born. I had 2 blends at that particular point in time, and I kept thinking, what am I doing? Do I really need to do this? What do I do? Why? At my age as well. But anyway, with the persistence of my sisters and family, they said, come on, give it a go. My husband as well, Stephen. So, I did. And I made it to the Melbourne Sustainability Festival.
Good on you. That's amazing. I just can't believe it's probably coming up a 1-year birthday, really,
yes,
isn't it?
Nearly.
Yeah.
Nearly, yes.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
Amazing. So in terms of startup, like I've looked at your product, Kerry, and it just impressed me right off the bat, just with its marketing, the professionalism, the photos, it's just everything about it. It actually looks like a 5-year brand. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
And I mean, let's not even talk about the taste. Like that's just sensational. I'm not a huge ginger fan, but your ginger tea just is my absolute favourite. I ran out and I went and purchased a inferior brand, a more mainstream brand, if anyone can read into that, and it just didn't have any punch. Nothing. It didn't warm me up inside or anything. So, just in terms of how it looks and how it tastes, as I said, you look like a brand that has been going for quite some time. So how did you know to hit that high mark so early on?
I spoke to Studio Inc., who actually do my website. So I've been working with them on getting the brand. I did have a previous label that I thought I was on the right track, that was waterproof, which means it's not biodegradable. So all about my packaging and everything is about biodegradability, compostability as well. And then Leah and Dale came up with this fabulous logo, which is beautiful. So the logo is it's very Celtic in design, so Irish background, and the logo has a heart with a tea leaf in the centre. And so to me it was like representative of my heritage in Ireland and also my birth town of Bendigo. And so when they came up with this lovely design, I just loved it. It was strong. I wanted it to be a strong brand. I wanted it to be different than anything else that I've seen. The tins that I use are silver. They're reusable, repurposed, refillable. And my packaging is the silver packaging is I sourced that from New Zealand actually, and that's all fully biodegradable, including zips. So I wanted everything to be classy and just and appealing to the eye. So when I first started, it just didn't look as good as what I thought it could, and I was a little bit disappointed. But one bit of advice another sister gave me is that allow yourself to make a mistake, because you don't learn if you don't make a mistake. Whereas I've always wanted everything to be perfect right from day one, and it didn't quite happen for me. But now I feel really positive that the branding is really good. The Studio Inc. have done a wonderful job on my website. Kate Minotti, the photographs. So it's about surrounding yourself with the right people to take it to that next step. And because I'm a little bit older, I didn't want to have 5 and 10 years in the making. I sort of wanted to hit the market hard. And I think that's probably, even though I don't have a lot of blends, I've got 6 main blends, which I'm really happy with. So, yeah.
You've really gone more that professional avenue than the DIY. I think so many of us, when we start our business, it is DIY. We just try and hack it out ourselves. We jump on Canva and try and create a logo. I remember with my first business, I've probably got 3 logos floating around. They're hideous, absolutely hideous, until I actually went to a professional and they got it right off the bat. When that happened, I just found it made marketing so much easier.
Absolutely.
Doesn't it?
Absolutely. Because you love it and it's strong and it looks good to you.
Yeah.
And the comments and the feedback that you get back as well is so important. And the feedback I've had has been amazing.
Definitely. Excellent. So the process of actually creating your own tea, how do you create your own tea? How did you know what to do and where to go?
Right. Well, you go down that rabbit hole of an internet, which I was down there for months, I think, and I really wanted to look at suppliers as well. So that's where I kind of started. I knew that I wanted to do some black teas. I wanted to do something that was very much Bendigo. So I had this Bendigo Billy in mind. So I really wanted to do a lovely bush tea. And so I've worked with that particular tea, it's tea from the Daintree, so I try and use as much Australian products as I can. We're not a huge tea growing country. However, the supplies that I do use are certified organic and fair trade. So I had 2 in mind that I was using, and I'm now using a 3rd one from outside of Melbourne. And so I just read up on the leaves, read up on the spices, thought, what do I like? And we tried that many teas. It was unbelievable. And so it's until we got to the right blend, and then I'd put it out to all friends and family, and then just be prepared to, no, don't like that one. Yes, I like that one. And so they're all being honest, which is great. So I just would put samples out there all the time to try and see what you think. Oh, it might need a bit of this or a bit of that. So we'd try it, we'd change it, we'd tweak the recipe, and and then come up with the 6 blends.
Wow. And then you monitor that via the marketing as well? So resales, do you look at all that data?
Yeah, look, I do. I'm probably not that good at it. The paperwork side of the business is not really my strength,
mine either,
so to speak. But absolutely. And it's funny, like it's one I've got is called Sassy. So it's really based on sarsaparilla root and licorice root, and it's a lovely Assam blend. And I thought that would have been that and Bendigo Billy would be the 2 go-to ones. And they started off being that way. And then since I've introduced a few more teas, they've kind of slowed down. But all of a sudden, I was at Trove Market on the weekend, and it was like Sassy was selling off the table. It was like, oh, God. So things change. As seasons change, I think people's tastes change as well.
Yeah. Speaking of markets, love a good segue. Wasn't my question for a little bit later, but I'm going to take it. So speaking of markets, that is something that you do. I see that on your Instagram. You and Steve are always at markets. It's really good. Can you give me some pros, cons, maybe some advice for others considering them? Because they're not easy to do. They're exhausting.
No, they're not. No, and it's knowing what to do, where to go. Even like driving your car. Can I park here. Where do I go? Do I have to carry my stock, 3 blocks, and I've got a trestle table and what else? And I need to be able to do it on my own. Stephen's really good. Like, he absolutely comes with me, but I've started doing the Bendigo Community Farmers Market. So I've been doing that by myself. And so that's been really good. Oh gosh, I'm still working through that. I'm looking at a marquee at the moment, and I've been pricing them, and they're all, again, very, very expensive. But again, looking at the stall holders are setting up, their marquees look beautiful and look really professional. I'm all about being professional, and I think, as you can see, when I go to the market, we have tea associates.
I know.
T-shirts and hats and
Great.
masks and everything else. But, it's just knowing what to do. And I think because I've been able to mix with and meet other stall holders, they're a wealth of information. They are so sharing and caring. It's like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And one of the markets was really, really quiet, and we didn't do very well at all. And a couple of stall holders came over and said, don't give up, come back next week. And so it gives you that enthusiasm, and then you go along and, hi George, hi Anne, hi Sue, and you end up knowing them all. And it's just that information that you can pick up at the time. But yeah, it's a hard one because you don't know what to do. And even when I use Square, and so sometimes I even forget I'm handing my phone over for them to click on the phone as opposed to the Square. So it's like, calm down, take a breath, and allow yourself time to set up as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, your stall looks amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I think I've been at a market or two and you've been there. I can't hack them. They're just such a long day. And maybe that's because I bring a tribe of kids and then they eat all my profit. And
yes, well, I must admit my husband does like to eat his way around the markets. He comes back with all this lovely food and drinks, and
not too dissimilar from the kids. Yeah,
exactly.
So how did you generate sales during COVID then, with the markets sort of?
Yeah, well, there wasn't really any
on?
markets. No. It probably allowed me time to work with Dale and Leah from Studio Inc. to get the website up and running. So it was really the socials side of things. I was able to do it that way. And I've also, because the shops were closed in Melbourne as well, so I've got into a little shop called Autocracy in Sydney Road, Brunswick. So the stock was down there in Melbourne, but of course that wasn't going anywhere either. So it was really just, I created another couple of blends during that time too, and allowed me to build the stock up, have stock ready to go. But yeah, in selling, not much. So it's probably a bit silly to start right in the middle of COVID, but I was in the right headspace to do it. I was sort of really focused on what I need to do.
Yep. So was there any time then during COVID you thought, oh gosh, what am I doing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do. Like you really do doubt yourself, and you shouldn't, because sometimes you get feedback about, especially with teas, like you've got larger tea providers, T2s, there's a lot of great tea companies out there, but it was never meant to be, they're competitors, but I'm never really going to be in that market. I don't really want to be in that market. It's just something for people to think about, is to sit down and take that time out to have a cup of tea, because it is a bit of a ritual. It's not like you go and get a coffee and you get a coffee on the run and you drink it on the run. Tea, you don't necessarily do that. So it's sitting down, having that special place in your lounge room or your kitchen, your nice teapot and a beautiful cup and saucer, and just like what you've got now.
Yes. So shout out to Ash Morales, creative.
Absolutely,
I've got some of her pottery here, got some beautiful mugs from her. And you're right, it does. It just makes that more of a special ritual.
Yes.
Yeah. And because I've got a guest over, Kerry, there was no way I was bringing out my chipped mugs. I've just got the special stuff out today. But magazines and tea, cup of tea, I think they just go together, or even a book. I love to curl up with a book and a cuppa. Just speaking of Ash as well, we had Ash in the last issue of Oak, so not the latest. We had her in the last issue, and then I think we had a sample of your tea with that magazine. Now, Ash had a sample of that tea because she obviously pre-ordered, and then got in contact with you to add a sample of your tea with her next drop, and then a chocky with it as well. I just love how those moments come together, because it's a collaboration at some point, but it's also just this beautiful way that everything works. And I know that that's happened in a few other moments for you where you've come together with another product. Did you want to take me through those and have you noticed a spike in your business when that happens?
Absolutely. I think this probably happened with Bendigo Bank with doing the pop-up. They asked me to go in before Christmas last year, and that was a bit of a wow moment as well for me, because it was like, oh goodness, I've got all my teas here, and the bank was really busy, and it was a new art space or creative space, and the customers didn't really know what it was all about, so you're kind of explaining about that. But I met a lovely couple of other makers, which one is This Is Me Brie, and we really hit it off together. So we've kind of partnered on a few, she's doing beautiful organic tea towels and lens cloths, so we've kind of partnered on that. But we're also going to look at creating something for my Bendigo Awakenings tea. So Bendigo Awakenings is a beautiful breakfast tea. English-Irish breakfast, and it's based on the awakening of the dragon. So being born and bred Bendigo, it's my history of growing up in Hargrave Street and walking to the awakening of the dragon, so it all just flows. So we're looking at creating a design of a dragon. So by being at Bendigo Bank, that allowed me to meet her. And also Ali from my sister Susie, so I've partnered with her with some soaps. And I just believe that there are so many fabulous creative makers out there that it's just, I'm always, in awe of them. I think it's fantastic. I never see myself in that way either. Yeah. And, but I love what I do, and then when I can partner with somebody, it just makes me feel fabulous. I just think it's great.
The partnering, the collaborations, is that something that you thought would have come out of owning a small business?
No, not at all, because I kind of thought it might have been very competitive as well, even though it's different products.
Yep.
But some of these amazing women are just incredible, and they're so sharing their knowledge and the pitfalls and the things to watch out for, and it's amazing how people just come into that you get to meet. And through being at Bendigo Bank, I was able to meet so many people, and I've had customers come in, repeat customers come in. I didn't realise you were at the bank, so I'm going to call into the bank. And it's been wonderful. Yeah.
Now, you are stocked in quite a number of stores, a lot in Bendigo.
Yes.
How has that come about? Is that you pretty much pounding the pavement, going in and talking to people?
Yeah, well, I think it started with Minette from Cafe Essence and the Bluebird Patisserie.
It's beautiful, that patisserie.
So I worked with Minette many, many years ago, and we've sort of remained friends. And when I went to see her, she was kind of like a mentor, really, when I sort of first spoke to her and said, look, I'm thinking about doing these teas. What do you think? She says, yep, I'll be in. So, okay. And so she's been fabulous, and a few ideas that she's provided me with, and even in regards to costings and how to do things, because you battle it a bit, knowing you don't want to price yourself out of the market and you don't want to be too cheap, but you want to make it that people can afford you as well. Basically in those two cafes, which are awesome, and Indulge Chocolates, so I'm in there as well. And Hayley is she puts tins and tea bags into her chocolate baskets and gift packs, that type of thing. The Great Stooper is another one. Yeah, Bendigo Airport. With Carlo, and Annette from Harcourt Produce Store. Yeah, which is fabulous. And then, of course, in Melbourne. So it's very exciting.
Do you think some advice for people, it is best to go in and sort of do that face-to-face rather than sending off an email?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, yeah. I think if you just drop in, and I think, well, what I did was drop some samples in as well and said, just try it. So don't always think it's going to be a sale. I was always able to drop off a heap of samples or tea bags and say, try it, see what you think. And if you would like to stock some of the teas, then let me know. I deliver free around Bendigo, so as soon as somebody calls, I'm normally on their doorstep within an hour or 2 hours. Yeah, so which is great.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, if I was a genie and you could have one business wish granted,
oh gosh,
what would it be right now, a year in?
A year in. There's so many things that I need. Help with my books. I've got, the website's all terrific. I said I love doing Studio Ink. It'd be nice to have probably more online sales to really to build the business. Would be terrific.
Yep.
So I'll continue to do the markets as well. But there's not really much. I'm really happy with the blends. I'm happy with the packaging. I'm happy with everything that I do. Maybe I could get a trainee.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yep. You could definitely bring on a trainee, even work experience.
Absolutely. Yes.
I've just noticed even my two that are at high school, admittedly they're surrounded by someone that's in business and that's all she talks about. But, they're talking about business and things like that. I think that they need to start to bring that back into school, like entrepreneurship, because there'll be so many parents in this generation that are business owners.
Yes.
Like these kids, if they could learn how to do their bookwork, I mean, that's probably one of the hardest things, and it's the most important as well. So,
absolutely is. It's you're creating the product, which is what we're all passionate about. But at the end of the day, invoices come in, have got to be paid, and think, I should put that in that spreadsheet. I should be doing that, putting that somewhere, and having a look on how to balance, even your budgets and things. I can run a budget, I can run P&Ls, I can do all that type of thing. But when it's your own business, I'll do that later. Yeah. I'll do it later. And then all of a sudden it's later is what are you doing? You haven't got anything ready for me, for the accountant or whatever. I'm just blending teas, sorry, So, I totally believe, I think schools should really be helping or looking and training and these young people to do something like that, because it's a wonderful business. Any small business is wonderful. So that's the support that you get, but it's the knowledge that you need to have as well.
It is. It's hard, definitely hard, but it's rewarding at the same time.
Absolutely.
And I think that whole thing that's something you own and that you've created yourself. Yes. There's this sense of pride that moments that sort of grab you and you're like, yeah, that's me. I did that, which is amazing. So you just mentioned one of your business wishes was to drive more sales to the website. So I could give you a few tips for that. The social media, so use the product tags. Make sure in your captions you've got that call to action. So, make sure you go to the website and buy. If people are buying, you want to put them on some sort of automation that, it's a reminder. Have you ordered your next one? Or, this week it's buy 5, get one free or something like that. Yeah. And then that remarketing, that retargeting part on the social media is so important, I think, for it to pop up in someone's ad. If they've visited your website, bang, pops up in your Facebook and, it just reminds them. And it's, what do they say? We need to see it. I think they used to say 7 times. I think it's actually even more now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay. For someone to buy stuff because it's such a busy place to be online. We're seeing all this stuff thrown at us, so it's a little bit more often. But, just little things like that I think would be really good.
Absolutely, yeah. I know my social media is not really up to scratch at the moment, so I have a little bit of a go and I think, I'm doing all right now, and I have a look and think, that looks a bit busy.
We can talk offline and I'll help you out, definitely. It doesn't take much to get them up and going. Now, we've talked about collaborations a lot and partnerships. Is there a brand or business that you would just absolutely die to collaborate with? Who's on your wish list?
Oh dear. I sort of like what Ash Morales is doing. I love the beautiful pottery. I think it's fine, it looks beautiful, and it's really, so something like that. And I have partnered with a couple of people on those, so I do like to add something to the product as an extra. But there's no one really I've sort of picked out that.
Robert Gordon?
I do like his. I do like his stuff. I think his stuff's beautiful. But again, he's very big. I'd like to give people more smaller.
I like that.
Smaller makers a bit of a chance. So I did have initially partner with. I bought some pottery cups off Andrew Bloxham. So he's from Kyneton, and they all sold straight up in the beautiful gift boxes. And I'm doing lovely tea gift cases now. So again, they're beautiful, that can be repurposed, or you can put cards or photos in them. And so I'm trying to partner with other smaller makers as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Where do these ideas come from? Where do you get your creativity?
I think it's in the family. My parents were both born in Ireland. They met in Australia and got married in Bendigo. And Dad's always had his own business. It was car tyres and tractor tyres, and Mum was nursing. And then they bought a pub over in Bungaree, over near Ballarat. So I think that entrepreneurship has always been in the family. And my sisters are all very creative. I never thought that I was. I always thought, well, I went out to work early and I've always worked, and never really gave myself a chance to work in my own business. And get to this age, it's like, let's throw caution to the wind and I'll have a go at Tea Associates, will I?
Yep.
And that's exactly where it's come from. But I'm loving it. It's just, it's the best life.
Yeah,
loving life.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah.
It's good. Excellent. Gives you all the feels, actually, Kerry. Yeah. I love it. I do. Now, before I let you go, can you tell us about a friend of yours that we need to know about?
I did see you're going to ask that question, and I wasn't really sure. The only one I did think whether it might be a sister.
Yeah.
I have a sister that has, she's an aromatherapist. So she has Basque aromatherapy, and her products are beautiful. And thank you also to the Bendigo Bank, because she's in the pop-up shop as well, along with myself. And and she started this off many, many years ago, and she was doing market. She's still sort of working part-time, but her products are sensational. I've got them. I had a look at my house recently, and I think it's in every bathroom, kitchen. I've got it everywhere. And I thought, gee, okay. But she might be one that might be of interest.
Beautiful. So you would say that your sisters are your inner circle then?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're so lucky.
Yes, yeah. Look, I am lucky. 5 of us go away and we talk. We love talking business, and we love, we do like a bit of a whip around the table sort of thing. Tell us about what you're doing, what you're up to, and all that kind of thing. So they all have an opinion.
Yeah.
They can all tell you whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, and you just take it. But I have learnt so much off them, especially the ones that have been in business for a while, in terms of using products and researching products. As I said, with my packaging, everything's about biodegradability and compostability. So I got that really through the girls. So, which is really good. And if I'm going on a different wavelength, they'll always bring back on track and we used to often do Zoom calls, during COVID, and we'd all sort of, okay, what's happening with your business? Who's doing what? And so it's lovely.
Oh, you're so
that
lucky.
Is good support.
So very lucky.
Yeah.
So last question, what is your favourite tea at the moment? What could you recommend someone add to cart?
Add to cart. I think Awakenings is spectacular. I think it's really beautiful. Yeah, it's 3 teas, and it's from India, Sri Lanka and China. And the blend, I think I've got it down pat. I think it's beautiful. It's a long leaf tea, and when you infuse it with the water, it just puffs up to, if you're using a tea bag, again, biodegradable and compostable, including strings and tag. And it just puffs up in the tea bag. It's amazing. And that's our go-to every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep. We used to switch between that and Billy, but at the moment, Awakenings is, every day.
Brilliant. I have to go and add to cart.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Kerry. It's been so lovely to speak with you, and I'm sure we'll carry on the conversation after we hit stop.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Really appreciate it. And thanks to Oak Magazine. Honestly, you guys are amazing. And that's I love reading the magazine. So
I love producing it. So
you do a great job.
Oh, thank you. Now, before you take off with all that inspiration and knowledge, we'd love for you to leave a review on our podcast so that we can continue to amplify women's voices in the media. And if you have any questions, we'd like to celebrate a win, you can always connect with us on Facebook and Instagram at Oak Magazine AU. I'm so glad we've met and that now you know a friend of mine.